Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Elephant Exposed. I am your host, Mr. CJ Jones, aka Mr. TNTBS, and I have my main man, the guy that has my back, the guy that brings us the funny, even in serious situations, Mr. Duane Stinson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, my brother. Good to be here. Let's
Yes, sir.
expose some elephants.
Yes, sir. Actually, you know what? In this particular elephant that we are going to actually be sharing instead of
Okay.
exposing. Um,
hmm
what we're going to be doing today is that we're going to be responding to a letter slash message that I received from a very solid, dedicated viewer.
hmm
Um, he has been a strong supporter of This Needs to Be Said, um, going back to whenever Mrs. TNTBS started her business in her podcasting and everything. And then um, I feel so blessed and privileged to have him as a strong supporter for Elephant Exposed since day number one. And um he watches our show. He's extremely responsive to what we say, and he's very supportive in everything that we do, and he really believes in our work. So without further ado, we're going to dive into what he had sent me. Now, to give a little bit more context as to what we're going to be reading, he was actually something actually happened um locally here in our city of Charlotte, North
hmm
Carolina. And evidently I must have missed it, or it was so much stuff going on during that time. But it was his line of questioning is what got my attention.
hmm
So I was like, you know what? Instead of just talking to him direct, I think we can just put this into a show, and we'll just see even how my co-host, Mr. Duane, let's see what he has to say too. So
hmm
we're gonna jump right into it right now. Okay. All right. So the first thing, of course, is the salutation. And let's go ahead and bring us on in here as well. Boom, there we go. Okay, wow. Okay, it just started rolling on me. Okay. So it says, first of all, good afternoon, CJ. Hope all is well with you. And basically, okay, we're just gonna jump into the question, everything this thing wants to roll. And it said he was asking us in that first frame, did we get the news of what had happened in with Charlotte Police Department, Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, or what we call CMPD. And it said that it raised some questions in my mind regarding the unnecessary use of force and the overall issue of command and control in a situation. So if I was just to just take that in its frame, basically what his question is going to be focused around is basically whenever we are dealing with multiple police officers, this is what it sounds like to me. Um, what seems to be the issue, and especially when it comes to Black people, minorities, and everything else. I'm just going to give a quick scenario. We get pulled over at any given time just because we're Black and they are in a mood. But it's several police officers. I believe that's the type of question that we're going to be addressing here. Okay. And why is it always seems to be an issue that everybody wants to be in command and in control of a situation? So here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead. Okay. It says it mirrors the Ricky Travis takedown in Rock Hill some time ago. The fleeing suspect crashed into a pickup. Crashed into a pickup and immediately jumped out of the car. He was driving, and he raised his hands in surrender, which is kind of typical, when you get, you find yourself, you know, in a place where you can go no further. But the situation is that this man seemingly to be okay, he's given up. The chase is gone now, right? And so with that, he said he did not bolt, but rather stood there as several officers came and surrounded him and started to shove him over towards an SUV. Typical situation. Emotions are heightened. People are upset. They're mad. So even though as professionals, and police officers are supposed to be professional, they're supposed to have their emotions in check, but obviously they don't. So it said it looked like they were going to put him up against the side of the car and cuff him. But another officer comes running over from the right side of the frame, grabs the suspect by the head, and takes him down to the ground. So all day long right there, you have a questionable arrest right there. He goes on further to say, at that point, a couple more officers dropped him to the ground, but he said, but we couldn't see what they were doing because a car was in the way. So his first question is, if that was even necessary to take him down like that. So just by him painting a picture right now, what would you even say right now, Duane, as just being a civilian, just a black man, just hearing this story so far, the scenario?
I would have to say he doesn't have the right to do that. I mean, so many times when we get put in different scenarios and different just happenings, it's turned up to a different level because our skin color. And so, like you said, once he got to where he couldn't go no further, he put his hands up because he already knows what's coming. He already know what's coming. He know they agitated because they done had to chase him or whatever, and they mad. So he know that he being recorded. He know that everybody got body cam. He know that they got cameras on the car. So that's probably why he surrendered or put his hands up, because that's what everybody say. Why didn't they comply? Why didn't they comply? Well, he's complying. Okay, I got my hands up. And so, like you said, it seemed like it was some residue or some feelings spilled over from the chase to now it's no more chase. He's giving up. But now you got somebody running up, with excessive force, putting the man to the ground. Like you said, you can't see what happened on the ground, but it's just that's the type of thing that happens over and over again when it seems to come with black and white relations when it comes to law enforcement.
And what it really boils down to, what I hear there is, it's just lack of self-control. I mean, there's never been a situation. I mean, in the world of law enforcement, I can speak from like that. In the line of any first responder, what makes you special, what makes you stand out, is that you should, keyword should, have the ability to go from 0 to 100 and all other speeds in between, with checking your emotions and always reminding yourself, this is not personal. If you are in law enforcement, no one is happy to see you, and they really want to get away if they can.
Mm-hmm.
And so resistance is inevitable.
Right.
So you know this going in. You know this putting on the uniform. You knew that when you raised your right hand and you swore to serve and protect your community and everything and blah, blah, blah. So you know these things going in. And so, but like you said, it comes from this undertone that is constantly being fed through mainstream media to where it's almost like you're being subliminally messaged on a constant basis that Black people mostly or predominantly and any other person of color, we don't really care what happened to them. And it's okay for them to be treated as such, like second rate, third rate citizens and so forth, because they really don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we are constantly pushing, we do matter.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and push on through this. Okay. So he says, he goes on further to say, he seems to be cooperating and he was completely surrounded by officers, just as we were saying. Their hands, they all had their hands on him. If and if they were telling him to get down to the ground and he was not responding, they could have easily taken him down. But then this other person, meaning the officer, comes out of nowhere and throws a head tackle on the suspect, taking him down. So he's given a little bit more description of as to what we're talking about, all that pent up aggression, all that excessive force.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then, so in the instance with, in the like instance, like with Ricky Travis, one cop told Travis to do one thing, and then another cop came from another side of the car and aggressively pushed Travis back. In other words, he was listening and obeying one cop, but then here comes somebody else out of another. I mean, and it comes out of the clear blue.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I'm going to break that down to tell you what it is and what should happen in situations like that. But we all see this. We see this every day. We see this with all kinds of, this is what got Chauvin in trouble. This is what got Chauvin in trouble, because he was supposed to be the backup, if you can recall.
Mm-hmm.
Chauvin was not even the primary officer, and I'm gonna break that down as well. Who's the primary officer? Who's the backup of the secondary officer? And who has control of the situation, command and control? All right, let's keep it pushing. It said this then leads to a third question that he has, which is if there is or should be any sort of command structure in such a situation. Does each cop act on his or her own whim? I'm gonna answer that right off the bat. Duane, hell, you can answer that one right now. To
Of
answer your
course.
question, to answer the question, um, is there any command structure in the situation? The answer is yes, sir.
Yeah.
There is. And does each cop act under his or her own whim? That happens a lot, and this is why you get your David Chauvins. This is where you
Mm-hmm.
get your over aggression. This is where you get, you know, I'm in charge and I got more stripes and all this stuff, and you're gonna do what I say and bump what this person said. You're gonna do this, da 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 da. All that heavy badge ego tripping gets officers in trouble every time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the reason why we today that we have laws, um, duty to intervene now
Mm-hmm.
because of things like that. Go ahead, Duane.
Oh no, I was just I was just agreeing with you. I mean, you know, you definitely hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's just like over and over again, all the training goes out the window
Mm-hmm.
when you're confronted with a situation. That's why you have the training. That's why, you know, especially growing up, that's why we always wanted to play cops and robbers, because
Yeah.
we sort of looked up to the cops and the badge and the uniform, and
Mm-hmm.
and they've been portrayed on TV as being almost superhero like, because
Right.
they can come in, and especially cops back in the day, man. Cops back in the day, man, you didn't see no cop pull his gun and shoot nobody. You saw them,
No.
they might have to chase somebody. And then when they chased you down, they didn't beat the crap out of you. They talked about you. They might say, man, why did you do that? And it was almost like a TV show. Well, it was a TV show, but it was almost like how at the end of every TV show, it happens, and they talk it out, and then
Mm-hmm.
that music come on, and
Yeah.
it's just like I
The
really
lesson
respect
learned. Right.
I
And
really respect the old school cops because they was proud. They used to always brag about being on the force for 20 something years and not having to pull their weapon. You know,
yeah.
you know what I'm
And but
saying?
see, you know what? Unfortunately, a lot of people hear what you say and be like, not my experience, not my okay, that's your experience.
Mm-hmm.
We are not talking about, we are not replacing or trying to say that our experiences are yours necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not here to argue anyone's life experience uh
Mm-hmm.
in dealing with police officers. My experience has been very similar to Mr. Duane's, and that's what kind of inspired me to want to become a police officer. But let's get back to what our viewer is saying here. He says, so there's 3 or 4 cops. It seemed to have the suspect under control, but another cop decides on his own that he needs to use force to take the suspect down to the ground. Again, I know this is kind of redundant, but very unnecessary. And
Mm-hmm.
so it says, um, it sure appears that there was no command structure at either incident, either the Travis or what happened here in Charlotte. Cops acting independently of each other reminds him of a Reno 911 skit. And I laughed when he said that because I used to watch Reno 911, and I just so happened to remember the one that he's referring to. And it says when in which 2 cops had their gun drawn down on a suspect, but they were both given directions to the person that they had under control. And they were saying, hey, like, don't listen to him, listen to me. But they both had their guns down on the suspect, and the suspect didn't know who to listen to. He was just trying to survive. So then he gives us a beautiful compliment. He says that he appreciates all that we do, meaning me and Catherine, that's me and Mrs. TNTBS. For those of us who does not know who Catherine is, she is my boss, she is my wife, and this is her platform. And he says he appreciates all that me and Catherine do, due to bringing the underreported to our community. And the mainstream media, that's what the MSM stands for, the mainstream media does not teach people how to evaluate and think critically. We need alternate media to help people to see what they have been overlooking. And so with that, we really do thank our viewer. By the way, his name is John. And we just want to
I
say,
would like
hey,
I
thank
would
you
like
for
to I
that.
would
I
like
mean,
to
I'm sorry, Jim, Mr. Jim Young. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say I'd like to just second that sentiment. That's why when you anytime I can, I'm happy to come on here and just give my opinion and give my observation because from the beginning you was transparent about what your goal was with the show. You know, it's not to be high and mighty and say I'm right, you wrong. It's not, you know, it's very, you know, it's not one-sided, you know, and it's very educational, you know what I'm saying? And it's something that needs to be done because too many times media is trying to sway you one way or the other. What I love about the show is you give the facts, you show the video, say, hey, let's look at this, let's dissect it. If you don't agree with me, tell me why you don't agree with me. So, I'm sure it's a lot of viewers out here who feel the same way that he does because, you know, like you said, it's something that's needed, you know, because as long as America's around, that relationship is gonna have to it's gonna have to get better. The relationship between police and law enforcement and civilians. You know what I'm saying? It needs to. And if nobody examines it and tries to, you know what I'm saying, repair it, then it's just gonna stay and it's gonna get worse actually. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much, my brother. That means a whole lot. And I appreciate you for just I mean, I know everybody's time is valuable. You are a hardworking man, and I appreciate you coming on for the times that you do, giving up your time to help me break down these videos and everything, and get my responses out to the viewers and everything because I I want to show that the whole point of exposing an elephant is just like our symbol that I have shared before. And if I got time, I want to go ahead and bring it up if I can find it real quick. But it goes back to what we have. Um this is our whole point right here, guys. It's not so when people are talking about who's right. The whole point of exposing an elephant is to realize that we are all different. We come from different walks of life. We come from different experiences and everything. And you may have your perspective, but keep in mind that when you are talking in a group setting, everybody has their perspective and everybody is touching a certain part of an elephant, but they're all convinced that what they got going on is the truth. So
Mm-hmm.
my job is to push everything back and say, hey guys, we're actually talking about an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about it. We're going to expose it. So again, I would like to thank our very dedicated viewer, Mr. Jim Young. I really appreciate you, sir, and really respect um, your support and everything. And I'm very deeply humbled that that um, I mean, just like the words, man, it's almost to a point where I almost don't even know what to say. And normally I can talk for hours and hours, but I'm deeply humbled by your compliment and everything. And I hope I did your question justice and everything. And so with that being said, we're going to keep it short and sweet, guys. And we're going to keep on giving you what you guys are asking for. You know, we're going to keep on exposing these elephants. We're going to keep on exposing these injustices and everything until true change come. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.